Bhargav,
Madam.
is the
Madam.
screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I am going to introduce probability theory. Okay, introduction to probability. So first of all, what is meant by probability? First of all, what is meant by probability? Okay, so here probability means chance of getting something. Okay, probability means chance of getting something. We are predicting something will happen like that. Okay, so here some of the activities are based on prediction only. Prediction means guessing. Okay, here if you see the weather forecasting report, all these activities are based on prediction only. Here what are the activities mentioned here? First one is weather forecasting, next one is stock investments, next one is playing games, next one is signal transmission, next predicting the risks of medical treatments, etc. Okay, so all these activities are based on prediction only. That means guessing. Okay, so all these activities are based on prediction only. Okay, so here if you see the weather forecasting report, um, for each and every day they will mention the percentage of for chance of getting rain. For example, today the chance of getting rain is 10%. Tomorrow the chance of getting rain is 20%. So like that, percentage is given. Percentage is given for you. Okay, so based on that percentage, we can predict the level of, based on the prediction only, we can guess the receiving, we can guess about receiving rains. Next example is stock investments. We don't know whether we will get profit or loss. Okay, just we will invest money, but we don't know whether we get money or not. Okay, just based on the present market situations, we will invest the money. We don't know what will happen in the future. Based on prediction, based on some present market conditions only, we will invest the money. So next, playing games. If you play a game, we don't know whether we win or not, but based on prediction with self-confidence, we will play the game. Similarly, we are conducting experiments, we are performing experiments in the laboratory. We may get the accurate results or not, but based on prediction only, we are doing the experiments number of times repeatedly, by varying different conditions or under some repeated conditions also. Okay, next example is predicting the risks of medical treatments. For example, if the doctors want to test some drug on human beings, they don't know what will happen if they test on human beings. But after doing some experiments on various animals, they will test the drug on human beings. So based on prediction that it will work on human beings, then only they will test the drugs. Okay, so all these activities are based on prediction only. That means guessing. Okay, next, other terms that are very much close to chance are probably, likely, etc. Okay, so here for probability we have different terms that are probably and likely. In the next classes we can clearly understand all these concepts. Again, now let us define an experiment. So what is meant by an experiment? Experiment means we can perform the experiment, any experiment, under some same under some repeated under same condition we are repeating the experiment, or by changing the conditions also we can repeat the experiment. There are two types of experiments. What are those? First one is deterministic experiment, second one is non-deterministic experiment or random experiment. What is the difference between these two? Based on the name we can judge the difference between deterministic experiment and random experiment. Okay, deterministic means with some certainty we can say clearly what will happen in future. Okay, for example, if you throw an object into the air, um, 100% it will fall to it will fall on earth only because of gravitational force. So there is certainty. That means surely the object will fall on earth. Okay, there is no ambiguity, there is no confusion in that. Okay, but if you consider non-deterministic or random experiment, the name itself indicates that random means we cannot say clearly what will happen before conducting the experiment. After conducting the experiment only we can see the results, but before conducting the experiment we can't say clearly the results. For example, if you toss a coin, we cannot say whether the head will appear or tail will appear. Okay, if you toss a coin, the head may appear or tail may appear. We don't know before tossing the coin which one will appear. Okay, that is the example for random experiment, isn't it? So here we have seen two types of experiments. First one is deterministic experiment. Second one is non-deterministic or random experiment. Okay. So deterministic experiment means with some certainty we can predict exactly what will happen in the future. If you throw an object into the air, the object will fall on earth because of gravitational force. That is sure. Okay, so we can predict in this case, but in some cases we cannot predict. That case is called random experiment. So in case of random experiment, we cannot say clearly exactly what will happen in the future. Example is tossing a coin. Before tossing the coin, we cannot say whether head will appear or tail will appear. We don't know exactly. Okay, so that is about experiment. Next, let us discuss sample space. What is meant by sample space? What is meant by sample space? The set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment is called sample space. Already we have discussed the definition for random experiment. Okay, so while discussing random experiment, we have taken the example called tossing a coin. Okay, that is example for random experiment, tossing a coin. So what are the possible outcomes for this experiment, tossing a coin? First one is head and second one is tail. Okay, there is no order. So head and tail are the two outcomes. So we have to consider both outcomes in sample space. So here sample space S is equal to, within the braces you have to write H comma T, capital H comma T. Capital H means head and capital T means tail. Okay, so these are the two possible outcomes for the experiment tossing a coin. Next, what are the possible outcomes for a random experiment, that is throwing a die? Die has 6 faces. We don't know exactly which face will appear. If you throw a die, 1 may appear, 2 may appear, so any number may appear. So before throwing a die, we cannot say exactly which number will appear. So what are the possible outcomes for this experiment, throwing a die? Sample space S is equal to, within the braces you have to write 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6, because 6 outcomes we have for this experiment. Okay, so here that means sample space means we have to consider each and every outcome of a random experiment. Okay, so each and every possible outcome of a random experiment can be considered in sample space. The outcomes of a random experiment can be written within the braces only, and sample space can be denoted with the letter capital S. So S is equal to H comma T is written here. Next, sample space can be classified as two types. First one is discrete sample space. Next one is continuous sample space. So the name itself indicates that discrete and continuous, both terms are opposite. Okay, continuous means continuous means there is no end. Okay, so it has infinite number of elements. There is no count. That's why this is also called, continuous sample space is also called uncountable sample space. Continuous sample space is also called uncountable sample space. We cannot count the number of elements in the sample space. That is called uncountable sample space or continuous sample space. Next, first one is discrete sample space. What is meant by discrete sample space? It has some finite number of elements. For example, here the 5 numbers are indicated within the braces. Within the braces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we have finite number of elements. This is called discrete sample space. But whereas here continuous sample space means we cannot count the number of elements. That is the difference. Okay, next let us go for next one, events. Next, let us discuss events. So here, how can we define an event? How can we define an event? How can we define an event? An event is defined as set of possible outcomes of an experiment. For example, if you toss a coin, the head may appear or tail may appear. Okay, the head may appear or tail may appear. Appearing head is one event, appearing tail is another event. So how many events we have for this experiment? Tossing a coin, we have 2 outcomes, appearing head and appearing tail, getting head and getting tail. So getting head is one event and getting tail is another event. Okay, for example, if you consider an event to be happened in a particular experiment, but it cannot be happened, that event is called impossible event. The name itself indicates that impossible event means that particular event must not be occurred. Okay, for example, if you toss a coin, the head may appear and tail may appear. There is no another event, only it has 2 events. Okay, if you want to get the number 3 by tossing a coin, it is not possible. If you want to get a number 3 is for die game, not for tossing a coin experiment. So if you want to get the number 3 on or if you want to get the number 5 on or what you call 6 on face on coin, it is not possible. That is called impossible event. Okay, so if you toss a coin, head may appear or tail may appear. There is no another event. Okay, if you want to get the some number 4 on coin, that is not possible because that event does not belong to tossing a coin. That event belongs to throwing a die. Okay, if you throw a die from 1 to 6, whatever may be the number will occur, those 6 events belong to throwing a die. Okay, so if you consider an experiment called tossing a coin, it has 2 events, head and tail. If you consider an experiment called throwing a die, it has 6 outcomes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but if you want a different event to occur in one experiment, that is not possible. So that event is called impossible event. Okay, next one is mutually exclusive events. Already in the previous class, I told you what is meant by disjoint sets or mutually exclusive sets. Disjoint sets means there is no common portion, there is no common element for the 2 sets. Okay, disjoint sets are also called mutually exclusive sets. This topic is already explained for you. Okay, here in the same way, we have to define mutually exclusive events. Okay, for example, if you take a bunch of cards, deck of cards, if you take some bunch of cards or deck of cards, and if you want to pick one card from that, it may be king or it may be queen or it may be some other card. Okay, okay, only one event will happen at a time. Both events will not occur at the same time. That is called mutually exclusive events. Okay, both events will not happen at the same time. You may draw a king card or you may draw a queen card. Okay, but drawing king and queen cards at a time is not possible, isn't it? because you are picking single card only. So that single card may be king card or queen card. Okay, but occurring or getting both king and queen cards at a time is not possible, you know. So that type of events are called mutually exclusive events. Okay, if you see the example here, what I have explained here now, the events drawing a king card and drawing a queen card from a deck of cards are mutually exclusive events. Both events cannot occur at the same time. Okay, so mutually exclusive events means both events cannot occur at the same time. Okay, first time if you pick a card, if you draw a card, it may be king. If you draw the another card from the deck of cards, it may be queen. But at a time, both events happening at a time is not possible. That type of events are called mutually exclusive events. Okay, is it clear? So this concept is similar to mutually exclusive sets, but in the previous class we explained regarding sets, but here regarding events. Regarding sets, there is no common element. If you take the sets, that is regarding common element. There is no common element for the disjoint sets or mutually exclusive sets. But here we are discussing mutually exclusive events. So drawing a king card and queen card at the same time is not possible because we are drawing single card from the deck of cards. Okay. Next one, equally likely events. So next definition is equally likely events. Okay, so what is meant by equally likely events? There is no dependence of one event on the another event. Okay, for example, if you toss a coin, the head may appear or tail may appear. Okay, first time if you toss a coin, if the head is appeared, and second time if you toss a coin, again the head may appear or tail may appear. So occurrence of second event does not depend on occurrence of first event. There is no dependence on in that. Okay, first time the head is happened, so next time the tail should be happened. It should not be like that. Okay, so occurrence of second event does not depend on occurrence of first event. That type of events are called equally likely events because getting head and tail both are equally likely. That means both have equal probability. Okay, if you toss a coin, what is the probability for getting head? 1/2. What is the probability for getting tail? Again 1/2. Both are equally likely events. There is equal probability for both events. Okay, is it clear? So one event does not depend on another event. Those events are called equally likely events. Here another example is given for you, that is throwing a die. Okay, if you throw a die has 6 faces, already I told you. So if you throw a die, 1 may appear, 2 may appear, 3 may appear, 4 may appear, 5 may appear, the number 6 may appear. So all these 6 outcomes are equally likely. All have equal probabilities. What is the probability for getting number 1 on the die? 1/6. What is the probability for getting 2 on the die? 1/6. What is the probability for getting 3 on die? Again 1/6. So all events are equally likely events. There is equal probability for all the events. One event does not depend on another event at any time. Okay. So here to explain the concept of equally likely events, 2 examples are considered here. First one is throwing a coin, tossing a coin. Second one is throwing a die. Okay. So in each experiment, all events are equally likely. Okay, all events are equally likely. Next, let us discuss next definition. Exhaustive events. Okay, if you throw a single die, how many outcomes we have? How many events will occur? 6 events. We have 6 events, or we have 6 possible outcomes for throwing a single die. But if you throw 2 dice, how many events we have? 6 square, 6 power 2, that means 36. If you throw 3 dice, then the number of exhaustive events are 6 power 3. Okay, so here all possible, the definition is given here. All possible events in that sample space are called exhaustive events. Okay, consider an experiment with sample space, then all possible events in that sample space are called exhaustive events. Okay, if you throw a single die, we have 6 number of exhaustive events. If you throw 2 dice, we have 36 number of exhaustive events. Okay, like that, all possible events in the sample space are called exhaustive events. All the possible outcomes of sample space are called exhaustive events. Next, favorable events. So what is meant by favorable events? Favorable. That means an event which is favorable to some point, which is favorable to something. For example, if you throw a die has 6 faces, the numbers may appear are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how many even numbers we have in these 6 outcomes? 3 even numbers, and remaining 3 are odd numbers. What are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6. What are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6. What are the odd numbers? 1, 3, 5. So here an example is given for you to explain the definition very clearly. Okay, so if you throw a die, the required event is getting an odd number. Then the favorable events are 1, 3, 5, because these 3 are the odd numbers. Okay, what we will get if we throw a die. Okay, for example, if the required event is getting an even number, if you change the required event, as getting a even number, then the favorable events becomes 2, 4, 6, because those 3 are the even numbers. What we will get if you throw a die. Okay, so here if the required event is getting an odd number, the number of favorable events are 3. Okay, if the required event is getting an even number, again you have the favorable events is equal to 2, 4, 6. Again the number of favorable events are 3 only. Okay, here favorable events means the events which are favorable to getting the required thing. Okay, isn't it? So that is the definition. Next, let us go for next one, independent events. What is meant by independent events? Independent. If the occurrence of one event does not depend on another event, then those 2 events are called independent events. Okay, independent events. Here the same example is considered here, tossing a coin. Okay, if you toss a coin, the head may appear or tail may appear. Okay, if first time the head is appeared, then second time again the head may appear or tail may appear. Whatever it may be, we don't know exactly what will happen. Okay, so occurrence of second event does not depend on occurrence of first event. That is called independent events. Okay, so probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B. This condition must be satisfied for the independent events. Okay, if while solving the problems we will get clarity on these concepts. So you need not to worry, just we have to learn the basic definitions, and if you apply the same concepts in problems, then we will get clarity. Okay, so here independent event means Banu, unmute yourself. Banu Prasad.
Yeah.
Cheppandam. Tell me. Any problem?
Unfortunately raise hand.
Okay. No problem. Okay, independent events means occurrence of second event does not depend on occurrence of first event. So for that, this condition must be satisfied. That is given as probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B, where A and B are, where capital A and capital B are events, two independent events. Okay. Next, let us start the actual definition for probability. Probability can be defined in several ways. Okay, so we have three definitions for defining probability. Okay, so here first one is axiomatic definition, second one is relative frequency definition, third one is classical definition. Okay, so the term probability can be defined in three ways. First one is axiomatic definition, second one relative frequency definition, third one classical definition. Okay, so first axiomatic definition. Axiomatic definition. According to this model, we have three axioms for probability. We have three axioms for probability. Okay, so here the probability P of A of the event is a real number which satisfies the following axioms. We have three axioms here. Okay, that we are going to discuss now. Okay, please wait. Okay, so first axiom 1. Okay, here what this indicates, probability of A must lie in between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. Okay, so any probability value must lie in between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. Okay, so that's why we have written here less than or equal to 0, less than or equal to probability of A less than or equal to 1. Okay, so probability of A lies in between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. That is first axiom. Next, let us go for second one. Second axiom is probability of S is equal to 1. S means here sample space. The probability of sample space is 1. That means if you add all the probabilities, you will get 1 only. That number will not exceed 1. Okay. For example, if you consider the experiment tossing a coin, what is the probability for getting head? What is the probability for getting tail? There are two events. So 50% probability for each event. There is 50% chance or 50% probability for each one. Probability of getting head is 50%. Probability of getting tail is 50%. 50% means 50 by 100, 1 by 2. So what is the probability for getting head? 1 by 2. What is the probability for getting tail? 1 by 2. If you add those two, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is equal to 1. That's what it is mentioned here. Okay. For example, if you consider another experiment, that is familiar experiment, throwing a die. Die has 6 faces. What is the probability for getting the number 1 if you throw a die? 1 by 6. What is the probability for getting the number 2? Again 1 by 6. What is the probability for getting number 3? Again 1 by 6. What is the probability for getting 4? 1 by 6. What is the probability for getting 5? Again 1 by 6. Probability for getting 6? 1 by 6. So each and every event are equally likely. Okay, equally likely means there is equal probability for each and every event to happen. Okay, each and every event to occur. Okay, if you add all those values, then you will get 1 only. Okay, 1 by 6 plus 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 1 by 6. If you add the value 1 by 6 times, you will get 1 only. So the probability of sample space is 1. Okay, so that is called second axiom. Okay, according to first axiom, the probability value may be 0 or 1 or the value in between 0 and 1. Okay, so according to second axiom, probability of sample space is 1 means we have to add all the probabilities corresponding to each and every event in the experiment. Next, axiom 3. Axiom 3. According to axiom 3 definition, here one statement is given. For any sequence of mutually exclusive events, one statement is given here. Probability of A1 union A2 union A3 so on up to union AN is equal to probability of A1 plus probability of A2 plus so on probability of AN. Okay, here mutually exclusive events means already I have explained in this class only. Mutually exclusive events. Mutually exclusive events. What is meant by mutually exclusive events? What is meant by mutually exclusive events? Go through the definition once. Okay. You have to respond properly. Here the definition is already explained. Two events are said to be mutually exclusive if the occurrence of any one prevents the occurrence of another. That means both events should not happen or should not occur simultaneously. Both events cannot occur simultaneously in a single trial. That is mutually exclusive. Okay. So in case of mutually exclusive events, there is no dependence of one event on another event. Okay. Both events cannot occur simultaneously. There is no possibility for both the events for occurring simultaneously. Okay, there is no simultaneous occurrence. That's why there is no common portion. That's why there is no intersection part. Okay. So A1 union A2 union so on up to AN is equal to probability of A1 plus probability of A2 plus so on probability of AN. Okay. So all these events are independent and one event will occur at a time. Okay, for example, A1 is one event, A2, A3, so on, all these are the events. Okay, A1, A2, A3, so on up to AN, all these are the events. Okay, so first time, for example, A1 event is occurred, then next time A2 event is occurred, next A3 event is occurred, like that. Okay, you may change the order also, no problem, because we are adding the terms simply. So if you change the order also, there is no problem in that. So this is the statement according to mutually exclusive events. Okay. So here for this formula, the definition is given here. The probability of at least one of these events occurring is the sum of their respective probabilities. Okay, the probability of at least one of these events occurring is the sum of their probabilities. At least one event means at least one. Here we have n number of events. 1, 2, 3, so on up to n. A1 is one event, A2 is one event, so on up to AN is another event. Okay, so all these are the events. We have n number of events. Okay. So this one is equal to sum of their respective probabilities. Respective probabilities means P of A1 plus P of A2 plus so on up to P of AN. Okay, we have to add those. In case of mutually exclusive events only, this formula is correct. Otherwise, this one is not correct. So we have to verify whether the events are mutually exclusive or not before going to apply this formula. Okay, whether the events are mutually exclusive or not. We have to verify first of all, then only we can use this formula. Okay, wherever you want. Okay. Here the term is given here disjoint. Disjoint and mutually exclusive both are same. Disjoint sets and mutually exclusive sets both are same. Similarly, disjoint events and mutually exclusive events both are same. Okay. Here in the above session, in the above formula, the formula is written for n number of events, but the same formula is applied for only two events, A and B. Okay, the above formula is written for n number of events, whereas this formula is simplified and it is given for only two events, capital A and capital B. And here it is written like this: A intersection B is equal to pi. Pi means null value. Okay, A intersection B means common portion. A intersection B means common portion. If you consider sets, A intersection B means common element for the two sets. Similarly, here A intersection B means common event for the two events, that is null value. Okay, that means there is no common event for the two events. That is called disjoint events or mutually exclusive events. According to this concept, formula is written here. In the above formula, the formula is written for n number of events, whereas the formula is given here for two events only, A and B. Okay. Next, let us go for properties of probability. What are the properties of probability? Properties. First property, probability of complement of A is given as probability of A bar is equal to 1 minus probability of A. Okay. This property is related to axiom 2. If you identified the point, you please refer second axiom. In the second axiom, it is given that P of S is equal to 1. That means probability of sample space is 1. Okay. So the same concept is applied here. Okay. If you take this to left hand side, if you take this P of A to left hand side, then P of A plus P of A bar is equal to 1, isn't it? P of A plus P of A bar is equal to 1. That means probability of sample space is equal to 1, which is matched with the second axiom. Okay. In another way also we can define. For example, what is the probability? Yuvant, unmute yourself. Yuvant raised hand, just now raised hand. Yuvant?
Examiners, madam.
Press ayi వచ్చిందా?
Oh, sir.
Okay. Okay, mute yourself. Please be careful. Don't press any buttons or anything on the screen. Mute yourself. Students, all of you mute yourself. If you consider the experiment, tossing a coin, what is the probability for getting head? 1 by 2. For example, P of A is equal to 1 by 2. Then what is the probability for getting tail? P of A bar is equal to 1 minus 1 by 2. 1 minus 0.5. Again, you will get 0.5 only. 0.5 means 1 by 2 again. Okay. So like that, you can calculate P of A bar is equal to 1 minus P of A. Okay. Is it clear? This formula is applied to an experiment called tossing a coin. Okay, if you toss a coin, getting head for the probability of getting head is 1 by 2. Then what is the probability of getting tail? Probability of getting tail is equal to 1 minus 1 by 2. Because from 1 we are subtracting the probability of getting head. Okay, probability of getting tail is equal to 1 minus probability of getting head. Okay, because there are only two events, that's why it is simple for you to understand. Probability of getting tail is equal to 1 minus probability of getting head. So probability of getting tail is equal to 1 minus, what is the probability of getting head? 1 by 2. 1 minus 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2 only. So again probability of getting tail is 1 by 2 we got. Okay. So next, what is the property? Second property, the probability of an impossible event is 0. The probability of an impossible event is 0. What is meant by impossible event? That is already explained in this class. In this class only, I have explained. What is meant by impossible event? The event that cannot be appeared, that cannot be happened is called impossible event. That means there is no chance for that event to happen. There is no chance at all for that event to happen. Okay. So what is the probability of an impossible event? 0. Probability of phi is equal to 0. Pi means null value, impossible event. Okay. So the corresponding probability value is 0. Because we cannot calculate the probability for impossible event. How can we calculate probability for an impossible event? We cannot calculate, isn't it? For the possible events only, we can calculate the probability. For example, if you toss a coin, you may get a head or tail. Those are the possible events. Okay. If you want to get some number 4 on the coin, it is not possible. It is impossible event for this experiment. So for that type of impossible events, the probability value is 0. That means for the possible events only, we can calculate the probability value. We can calculate the probability value for the possible events only. Okay. It is not possible to calculate probability value for the impossible events. That's why the value is 0. There is no associated probability. That's why it is 0. Next, what is the third property? If you refer third property, if A is a subset of B, then probability of A less than or equal to probability of B. What is meant by subset? In the previous class, I already explained what is meant by subset. Subset is also called part. For example, if you consider two sets, capital A and capital B, and consider the elements as A is equal to 1, 2, 3, B is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then can we say that A is subset of B? Yes, because each and every element of set A is also present in set B, isn't it? Each and every element of set A is also present in set B. Then we can say that A is subset of B. Okay, A is a part of B. We can also say like that in a simple manner. But according to our terms, we have to use subset only. Okay, so A is a subset of B means each and every element of set A or each and every element, each and every event of A must present in B. Then we can write like this: probability of A less than or equal to probability of B. Okay, so how can we understand this formula? Probability of A less than or equal to probability of B. For example, I am explaining clearly. I want to explain more clear. For example, event A is getting head. Event B is getting both head and tail. Okay, so what is the event in A? Only getting head. But what is the event? What are the events? Possible events in B? Both getting head and tail. Okay, so what is the probability of A here? 1 by 2 only. But what is the probability of B? Here we have two events in B. So 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, we have 1. Okay, so 1 by 2 is less than or equal to 1, isn't it? Is it clear? So event here A is considered as the event getting a head, but B is considered as both getting head and tail. So what are the probabilities associated with A and B? The probability of A is equal to 1 by 2 because for getting head, the probability is 1 by 2 only. Then what is the probability of B here? B means both getting head and tail. So 1 by 2 probability plus 1 by 2 probability, which is equal to 1. So verify this formula. 1 by 2 is less than or equal to 1. Is the condition satisfied? Yes, the condition is satisfied. Okay, because A is a subset of B. A is a part of B. So the probability of A must be less than or equal to probability of B. Probability of A must be less than or equal to probability of B. Probability of A must be less than or equal to probability of B. Okay, is it clear? So we have discussed three properties. First one is finding the complement of A. Next one is probability of impossible event is 0. Next, third one is if A is subset of B, then probability of A must be less than or equal to probability of B. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Anyone can respond, but please respond.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is these concepts clear or any doubts? No doubts. Okay. So here let us go for fourth one. We have 7 properties for the probability. We have discussed 3 properties till now. Again, we have 4 properties. Okay. Fourth one is if A1, A2, so on, AN are mutually exclusive events, then probability of A1 union, A2 union, A3, so on up to union AN is equal to probability of A1 plus probability of A2, so on up to probability of AN. This property is similar to axiom 3, isn't it? We have discussed 3 axioms of probability already. So this is third axiom. So in the properties of probability, fourth property is matched with the axiom 3. This is already explained for you. Next, let us go for fifth one. For any 2 events, capital A and capital B, probability of A is equal to probability of A intersection B